Today we'll be recapping the 2024 Disney Parks highlights and looking ahead to the exciting changes coming in 2025 and beyond. Hello and welcome to the Let's Go to Disney podcast. I'm Oliver.
And I'm Lucy.
Today is Monday, December 30th, and you're listening to episode 68, Disney Parks highlights of 2024 and what to expect in 2025. Before we get into today's main topic, here's what's going on in the parks right now. It's been a slow news week over Christmas as expected, but we did get some news earlier this morning. Disney dropped a free Disney Dining Plan offer starting on January 2nd through February 10th when you purchase a non-discounted 3-day, 3-night minimum vacation package that includes a resort stay and park hopper tickets for travel dates most nights between May 27th through June 26th and July 7th through August 6th. You'll get free dining for every guest on your reservation. The Disney Parks blog post also states that further offers will be available, like select stays at Disney Resort hotels, so be sure to check the special offers page on January 2nd for further details on that.
We got to see some videos of the crowds at Walt Disney World during Christmas week, and as you can expect, it was bursting at the seams.
I saw some of the corridors, I guess you call them in the parks, just a sea of people.
I think I saw that the Frozen standby queue was all the way in China at one point.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I think I saw that. So the parks will continue to be at their busiest leading into New Year's and the Walt Disney World Marathon weekend, which is January 8th to 12th. The parks should slow down after that, which will take us into the start of the Festival of the Arts at Epcot, which is set to start on January 17th. And on that note, we expect to see the foodie guide for that, which is going to highlight the booth menus and the wonderful walk of colorful cuisine items. I would guess at some point probably this week.
Yeah, 100%. It's coming up on January 17th, so it's going to be soon here. So tomorrow is New Year's Eve, and we want to wish you a very happy and prosperous year for 2025. Whatever you have on the horizon next year, we hope it's a good one. Inevitably, there will be good times and harder times, right? Like any other year. What we find is that it's always helpful to look back at, all you've done and all that you've accomplished throughout the year. And then when you look at it through that frame, there's really no reason that you can't surmount any challenge that lays ahead of you. So whatever comes your way in 2025, you've got this.
Yeah, absolutely. That's our pep talk, and I completely agree. Aside from that, we're floating in that time between the Christmas and New Year's time. If you celebrate, we hope you had a wonderful Christmas and had a chance to spend time with family and enjoy some delicious food. We certainly did. We were over at my parents' house for Christmas Eve into Christmas morning. Santa visited overnight, and the kids had a wonderful day. My mom is a phenomenal baker and a phenomenal cook. So we had a wonderful Christmas dinner with turkey and all the fixings and then so much baking that my mom had done. It was perfection.
Yeah, for sure.
It's always a weird time kind of in between Christmas and New Year's, like time-wise. We've been eating way too much and we're thrown off of our regular routine because the kids aren't in school, there's no activities. So no doubt many of you are feeling that as well. And it's definitely a weird one for us this year as well. We normally leave our decorations up until probably about the first week of January.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
But unfortunately on the 27th, which was this past Friday, we had to take down all of our Christmas decorations and put everything away. Not because we wanted to. I actually almost shed a tear about it. We were definitely sad.
I felt the same way.
But we had no choice.
Yeah. And we mentioned it quickly before, but we're having our basement finished, right? So up until now, we had still been using the space. Like we had a TV room down there, a playroom for the kids, a Murphy bed, but we're finally having it develop. So long story short, we have to have it empty, like completely empty by the start of the third week of January. That's when work is set to start. So the last few days we've been hard at work, packing everything up, purging some old kids toys and stuff we've been hanging on to for far too long.
Way too long.
And we've made some good progress, right? And we'll continue to chip away in the coming days and next couple weeks here so that the basement is empty and ready to go for the contractors to start mid-month. It's throwing us off big time, but we know it'll all be worth it in the end. So we're hanging on to those positive thoughts.
Yes. Short-term pain for long-term gain
Exactly.
is what I keep telling myself.
Yeah, no, exactly. And with that, let's get into today's main topic, which is a review of the big things that happened in the parks in 2024 and some of the things that Disney has said is coming in 2025 and beyond. It seems like forever ago, but way back on January 9th of 2024, Disney made some big changes that had been missing since the pandemic closures. So if you remember, park hopping up to that point was limited to after 2 p.m., meaning if you had park hopper tickets or an annual pass, you'd have to wait until 2 p.m. to park hop, which was kind of a drag, especially if you wanted to try for a 1 p.m. virtual queue in another park, like Epcot, for example, for Guardians. There was just no way to do that. But on that day, they brought back all-day park hopping, which was great. They also got rid of park pass reservations for date-based tickets. So again, up to that point, park pass reservations were needed to visit the parks, meaning you kind of had to reserve your spot for each park you were visiting during your trip. It added another layer to the planning process and took out some spontaneity, right? Like some of the, just get up and go out of your day, right? But that went the way of the dodo bird on this day as well. It's still around for annual pass holders, but by and large, we don't find it to be a major hindrance in any way. We've never had issues booking the parks we want. And lastly, the Disney dining plan. This was also something that hadn't returned since the pandemic closures, and it returned on that day, but different than it was before. You used to have several options with the Disney dining plan and the ability and flexibility to convert credits in certain instances. So for example, you could convert a table service credit to 3 snack credits if you wanted to, like things like that, right? But it returned with only 2 options. So the quick service plan or the standard plan. The quick service plan includes 2 quick service meals per day, 1 snack credit, and a refillable resort mug. The standard plan is the same, except instead of 2 quick service meals, it's 1 quick service and 1 table service meal.
We also saw some changes to the Disability Access Service on both coasts. So that's the DAS. DAS. There you go. Yeah. Disney partnered with Inspire Health Alliance to help determine eligibility. Your DAS pass is now valid for 120 days or the length of your ticket, whichever is shorter. And the ability to book 2 rides in advance was removed, and registration is now all done via live video chat. They also tightened the language and requirements for eligibility, which is intended to reduce the abuse of the system. But like anything else, those who suffer are the ones who actually really need it, right? So it's kind of a double-edged sword. We know this was a topic that left a lot of people feeling pretty frustrated. And while we've never used this service, we have friends who have and who really need it. So we definitely feel for all of you who are feeling frustrated about all that.
Agreed, 100%. Yeah. Absolutely.
And then for attractions, Star Tours got new scenes this year as well. This includes fresh characters and worlds from Star Wars' newest offerings like Ahsoka, Andor, and The Mandalorian. These were added back in April, and so we got to experience a couple of them during our trips this year. Country Bear Jamboree closed earlier this year for an extensive refurbishment. When it reopened this summer, it had received some refreshed animatronics as well as some new musics with songs like Try Everything from Zootopia, Kiss the Girl from The Little Mermaid, and A Whole New World from Aladdin, among others. It was actually a really nice update and brought the attraction into that 21st century, which is really nice to see.
Agreed, yeah. It needed a refresh.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's good.
Also in April, 1900 Park Fair, the character buffet at Disney's Grand Floridian Resort that had been closed since the pandemic closures finally reopened.
Yep.
This restaurant was refreshed and featured new characters like Tiana and Aladdin. It was great to see this restaurant open again, and we actually really enjoyed our meal here when we ate there in May.
Yeah, we finally
the food was really good.
Exactly, and we finally had that strawberry soup, and it held up. It was actually really good.
Honestly,
I enjoyed it.
I like buffet because I feel like there's always an option for everyone, and the kids get excited when they're like, oh yeah, I'll take that.
Yep.
I'm all for buffets.
I agreed 100%. It was delicious, and we, meaning me, ate way too much. And Tiana's Bayou Adventure reopened in Walt Disney World after its extended 18-month closure, which saw the attraction reimagined from Splash Mountain to many fans' chagrin, right? The same update happened on the West Coast at Disneyland, but it opened much later, just recently, actually, in November. Both locations also got new merchandise locations to go with the attraction. One key takeaway here is that Tiana's Bayou Adventure in Disneyland, so California, already dropped its virtual queue. So actually, there's a standby queue as we speak over at Tiana's in Disneyland. Whereas as of this recording, it's still in use at Walt Disney World, right? So East Coast. This is much longer than we were anticipating. And even when the attraction actually launched, Disney's language seemed to imply that it would go standby queue shortly after opening. But we're 6 months in now, and the virtual queue is still here. So your guess is as good as ours at this point. June 17th also saw the closure of Test Track for its reimagining. It's expected to reopen late in summer of 2025. You can expect to see updated ride vehicles with new designs and technologies with inspiration from the original World of Motion attraction. Disney has since shared some concept art photos and expanded the new pre-show language, right? And it's going to be updated and feature newer technologies, and also said guests will see the new ride vehicles being tested in early 2025. So that's exciting ahead of its summer opening, which is going to be, again, late summer of 2025. And lastly, for attractions, back on September 9th, Tron got rid of its virtual queue, and now it operates a standby queue. So reminder that as of right now, Guardians of the Galaxy still has a virtual queue, and it's been 2.5 years at this point with no end in sight. So yeah, I don't know.
I have to think that the virtual queue just works better. I don't know. It just seems like it's more organized.
I don't know, but like
I don't know.
at some point it's going to have to
You're
go
right.
standby.
It will have
right?
to go
'Cause
standby.
it's
All these
been-
new attractions are going to come in the next couple
Yeah.
of years here.
Yeah, exactly. And
No,
by
you're right,
May,
yeah.
and by May, it'll have been 3 years.
Yeah, for sure.
And like, don't get me wrong, it's a super great attraction and it's still super popular.
I wonder if that'll change once Test Track opens up again.
Maybe.
Who
Yeah,
knows?
Maybe. Who
We'll
knows?
see.
We will.
And then, of course, probably the biggest news to hit the parks in 2024 was Lightning Lane Multi-Pass and Single Pass. Honestly, if you haven't been to Walt Disney World in like 5+ years, so think 2019 or before, the number of changes to Disney's Skip the Line service is mind-blowing. We cover Disney and we actually consider ourselves to be pretty knowledgeable on the news that surrounds the Disney parks, especially at Disney World. It's been a task to keep up with all of these
Agreed.
changes, to be honest with
Absolutely.
you. We can't imagine what it must feel like for the average park guest that visits every few years. Or even your average person that is planning a trip, the learning curve to really master the parks is steeper than ever. Like my parents haven't been since 2014. My mom would like to go with us one day in
Yep.
the next couple of years. She wouldn't even know what to do. She'd
No,
just
and
be
like-
grateful that she's with us and we'll guide her in that
and
way.
that's the thing, right? To be fair, they're going to be traveling with us. So we'll
But like she was
plan that for
overwhelmed
them,
by
but-
all of that stuff
yeah,
too.
agreed.
So way back on July 24th, Lightning Lane Multi-Pass and Single Pass replaced Genie Plus, which had been the Skip the Line service from 2021 to that point, which is actually a pretty short time, all things considered. And even Genie Plus itself had evolved in big ways during its short lifespan. Multi-Pass brought back tiered attractions and the ability to book Lightning Lanes ahead of your trip. You can now book 3 attractions, 1 from Tier 1 and 2 from Tier 2, 7 days ahead of your trip if you are staying on Disney property, and then 3 days from your first park day if you are staying off property. Once you use your first Lightning Lane on the day of your visit, you can then start to book other Lightning Lanes pending availability. You can also book in other parks if you have park hoppers, and you can and should always hold at least 3 Lightning Lanes at a time in your queue.
Yeah, you can hold up to 3 and
Yeah.
you should always have 3.
Yes, absolutely.
Agreed. Yeah. Lightning Lane Single Pass also changed, but it's largely pretty much the same thing that it was before. You can choose your return time from available return times, just like you could before for the attractions that were previously individual Lightning Lanes. The biggest change is that just like Multi-Pass, it can be purchased at 7 days or 3 days before, depending on where you're staying. And in case that wasn't enough for you, back in October, Disney dropped Lightning Lane Premier Pass. This adds to the available Lightning Lane services lineup. It's a premium service, right? As the name implies, that grants you access to every Lightning Lane attraction in a park, including the single pass attractions, once during your day. You don't have to select return times. You just go to the attraction that you want when you want. It's purchased the same way as Multi-Pass and Single Pass, and initially it was only available to guests staying in deluxe resorts, but it has since been expanded to include all Disney resorts and Swan and Dolphin, Swan Reserve, and Shades of Green. The service ranges in price from $129 on the low end at Animal Kingdom to $449 on the busiest days at Magic Kingdom. Reception was lukewarm, mostly because of price.
It's because 100% because of the price.
And we personally don't think it's worth it given that Multi-Pass and Single Pass are still around at a much more reasonable price point. And it will still allow you to do everything you could possibly want or be able to do in a day. Having said that, over the holidays here, with prices being at their highest because it's the busiest, right? It is selling out. So apparently people are buying it, and honestly, more power to them. No judgment here, but we're happy with Multi-Pass and Single Pass. I'm okay with spending like, $100 a day on Multi-Pass for the family, like at $25, say.
Me too, yep.
But spending like, my God, like over $1,000 at Magic Kingdom? No.
I'm thinking that people during the busiest time, they've already paid so much to be there and it's so busy. They just like, what's a little bit more in order to make sure we ride all the rides. I'm assuming what people's logic is.
I can definitely see the logic, but not just a little bit more. It's a lot more. But I hear what you're saying.
Right,
I
yes.
do. That makes sense. Yeah.
Yes.
Epcot also finally had its walls come down earlier this year, which was great to see. The walls had been up for so long that we could barely remember what the park looked like before work had started, right?
Mhm.
The refreshed spaces open in waves, starting with Communicore Gardens and the Walt the Dreamer statue, which was in late December last year, right? So in 2023. On June 10th, Communicore Hall and Plaza and the Mickey and Friends meet and greet area opened to the public. The new space has since housed Celebración Encanto, which was a limited time offering, and the Food and Wine Festival and the Festival of the Holidays have had booths and pop-up merchandise locations in here as well. It also currently houses the Gingerbread Spaceship Earth, which was awesome. I wish I'd been there to see it in person because it really looks like really cool.
Yes,
It's nice that Disney is making good use of their refreshed spaces already.
absolutely. So a few other things that happened this year. Disney Dreams That Soar was a drone show that was available from May 24th through to September 2nd at Disney Springs. And while this was only a limited time offering, it gives us hope that there will be another drone show component in the parks in the coming years, like there is at the international parks.
Yeah,
I'm thinking this was just a test run and they're like, let's see how this goes.
Because Disneyland Paris has a drone show and I've seen like videos of it and it looks amazing. So
true.
You know, we've had a little taste of it here in Orlando, so it'd be nice to see something a little bit more permanent.
I think something else will come back eventually.
Yeah, agreed.
Then the boardwalk area got the Blue Ribbon corn dog stand and the Cake Bake Shop, which finally opened its doors recently as well. Oliver fully intends to eat there next month.
Yeah, it looks like reservations are still done via OpenTable. Like they don't do it via the My Disney Experience app.
Yes.
And that opens 30 days before. So I'm going to try for a reservation here right away.
True.
And I know the cake slices are like over $20 per slice, but you only live once. So I'm definitely going to try at least one.
And planning your advanced dining reservations got pretty easy as well. You can now filter up to 10 days at a time when looking for a specific reservation. So you can plan your days around dining that's really important to you, which is a great option to see. We love when Disney makes quality of life improvements to their planning tools like this.
You know, exactly.
It really
because
helps.
Let's say you really wanted to dine at Cinderella's Royal Table, or like Storybook Dining at Artist Point actually is a perfect one because you can do that, you know, after a park day on any day.
Absolutely.
And let's say like, you know, you looked at the 26th of May, you looked at the 27th of May and it's all booked up, but now you can look and filter like 26th through 30th maybe, right?
Absolutely.
That's the length of your trip. Well, now you can say like, okay, like 27th through the 29th is booked up, but 30th looks free. So let's book it on that day.
Absolutely. And then on the Disney Vacation Club side of things, there has been some big news this year as well. The cabins at Fort Wilderness were completely redone and converted to DVC cabins. They started a phased opening on July 1st. The new cabins received a lukewarm reaction, and then some folks were upset that they were less rustic and then more modern than they were before. We personally love the look of these new cabins. They look great. We would absolutely stay here with the kids, hands down. Not an issue.
Agreed, 100%.
And of course, even though they are now DVC cabins, they can be booked by regular guests. And of course, the Island Tower at Disney's Polynesian Village Resort saw construction chug along throughout the year and then literally just opened to the public on December 17th. So just a couple of weeks ago.
No, exactly.
Photos and videos of the new tower look great. We love the look of this.
Yes, absolutely it does. I'm in Disney January 31st, right? And I fully intend on going to check it out and eating at Wailulu Bar and Grill as well.
Absolutely.
And over at Disneyland, Pixar Place opened after having been reimagined from Paradise Pier, which is what it was called previously.
Yes.
And the new hotel is like bright and fun and it feels much more Disney than the previous space. It's an improvement, I would say.
100% agree with that.
Yeah. And Fantasmic resumed in May after an extended closure. So if you guys remember, like back in 2023, the Maleficent Dragon caught fire, right? And that was like all over social media.
Social media, the news.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, so in May, it reopened like after almost a year.
Mm-hmm.
For Disney Cruise Line, Lookout Key at Lighthouse Point, which is Disney's second private space in the Caribbean, started welcoming guests in June. And the Treasure joined the fleet like just last week, right? It had its first public sailing that was over Christmas. And over at Tokyo Disney Sea, Fantasy Springs opened on June 6th. The new area features lands dedicated to Frozen, Peter Pan, and Tangled. We've never been, but everything that we've seen for Tokyo Disney Sea looks amazing. Like
it's
if I
on our
was
list.
if I was to do an international Disney park, like out of all the Disney international parks, so Shanghai, Hong Kong, Paris, and Tokyo, it would be Tokyo would be my number one choice.
My sister keeps telling me, we'll go with you guys to Disney. We just want to go to Tokyo.
Yeah. And of course, like it's not as easy to get to Tokyo as it is to scoot down to Orlando, but it is on the list.
It's on the list, and I think we'll all go as a family one time.
Yeah, agreed. And looking back at 2024 for us as a whole, we went to Disney twice, right? So we went in May with the kids and we stayed at the Wilderness Lodge. We hit the 4 parks. We had some great dining experiences like Storybook Dining at Artist Point and breakfast at Topolino's. And Lucy and I went back for a trip, just the two of us in September, and we did Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party and the Keys to the Kingdom tour, which was a first for us and we absolutely loved it. We also got to experience Tiana's Bayou Adventure for the first time, which we both really appreciated. It was a good year for like Disney visits.
Yes, I agree.
What was your favorite thing that we did or experienced this year, you think?
You know what? Honestly, I would say Keys to the Kingdom was pretty top notch.
Agreed.
Because that's not something we could have probably done with the kids. I think they would have gotten bored quickly.
Yeah, and I think there's an age.
Oh yeah, there is an age.
Restriction.
I think it's 18 or 16 maybe.
No, 10.
Oh, okay.
I thought it was younger, but it could
Maybe,
be
yeah.
16. I could be wrong.
But
I'll have to look at it.
I really enjoyed that experience. It was a first for us, so that was a lot of fun. And also Tiana's. I just thought that was one of the best reimagined rides out there. They hit it out of the park, in my opinion, with Tiana's Bayou Adventure.
Yeah, and I echo that. Like Keys to the Kingdom, you know, as a Disney fan, as like somebody who appreciates the parks and appreciates the history.
That's a big one. And that's what this one dives into more is history.
Yeah, like in our tour guide, she dived into the history, right? And I really appreciated that. I appreciated getting a look behind the scenes, right? A peek behind the curtain, so to speak.
Yeah.
Like going into the Utilidors, seeing backstage, like where the parade floats are held. And like the electrical water pageant, like on the water there, like all of that was amazing. So that was the highlight for me for 2024 for sure.
All right, now looking ahead to 2025, there is a lot to look forward to next year, and most of the news surrounding this came out of the D23 event in August. But we also got some other tidbits throughout the year as well, and this gave us insight for what we can expect next year and, of course, beyond. Disney never stops.
No, exactly. There's always something going on.
Absolutely. So in 2025, the parks are getting 2 new lounges, the first being a Pirates of the Caribbean-themed tavern that will be located over in Adventureland in Magic Kingdom near the Pirates of the Caribbean attraction. Disney has shared some concept art photos that shows a fun space with pirate theming. The tavern will serve light bites and themed drinks. In one concept art photo, a guest is seen drinking from a cup shaped like a skull, which is actually really cool.
Yeah, agreed.
I bet you that'll be like a souvenir cup, I think.
Almost certainly, yeah.
So we can envision the space being similar in vibe to Trader Sam's Grog Grotto over at the Polynesian.
Yeah, agreed 100%.
Yeah, absolutely. And then Epcot is also getting a lounge, and it's going to be a Spaceship Earth themed lounge. This space will be fancier and kind of like that swankier vibe going on.
For sure. Definitely, like looking at the photos, it looks that way for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. So the concept art shows a refined looking space with carpet inspired by the shapes of Spaceship Earth, as well as globe shaped lanterns. The space has large windows that will have great views of Spaceship Earth itself and the lagoon beyond. So we fully expect that this lounge will be great for fireworks views.
Yeah, agreed 100%. And Disney Starlight, Dream the Night Away, is a new nighttime parade coming to Magic Kingdom in the summer of 2025. It'll feature dazzling floats and music with characters from Peter Pan, Encanto, Frozen, and Moana, among many others. They shared a concept art photo of the Moana float, and it looks amazing. Like 1,000 lights, like probably more than 1,000, but you know what I'm saying.
It'll be great.
It's like, yeah. And over in Hollywood Studios, the Lightning McQueen Racing Academy closed to make way for a new Villains show coming to that end of the park.
That's so fun. I'm excited for that one.
No, agreed. I can't wait for that. The show is going to be named Villains Unfairly Ever After. Disney shared a reel on their socials featuring the magic mirror from Snow White, which shared some details of the new show and a look at some of our favorite, quote unquote, favorite, you know, the ones you love to hate, villains like Cruella de Vil, Captain Hook, and Maleficent, among many others. The Little Mermaid, a musical adventure, is replacing Voyage of the Little Mermaid that had sat vacant since the pandemic closures. That's over in Animation Courtyard at Hollywood Studios. The show is supposed to open in the fall of 2024, but we're now winter of 2024 into 2025, so it's still not open, right? That was pushed back to the summer of 2025. The new show will feature all new sets, as well as a mix of puppets and live performers, and state-of-the-art technology that will bring the show to new heights. It'll feature the songs you know and love, like Under the Sea and Part of Your World, as well as new to this theater songs like Daughters of Triton and Kiss the Girl. We're really excited to see new life in this theater.
Absolutely. That's 2 really big shows coming to Hollywood Studios.
Yeah,
like
agreed.
That's pretty exciting. And plus they still have Frozen.
Yep.
And am I missing a show?
Well, they have Indiana Jones.
Yes.
They have Beauty and Beast live on stage.
Hollywood
There's
Studios knocking
there.
out of the parks for shows
absolutely.
for sure.
Yep. Over at Animal Kingdom, Zootopia Better Together is replacing its Stuff to Be a Bug, which is the show currently in the theater at the base of the Tree of Life. This show is set to debut in the winter of 2025. Which should be in the coming months, okay? But it's Stuff to Be a Bug is still going, and winter is well underway. So do they mean like December of 2025? It's so hard to tell at this point. But if they're going to do it soon, I feel like they need to start like now. And if they do mean winter, like 2025, like as in December of 2025, like, okay, that's fine. But if it's in the next few months here, we're thinking we could definitely see this specific project pushed back a bit.
Yeah, I think so.
And while on the topic of Animal Kingdom, Dinoland USA is being completely rethemed to a Tropical Americas themed land named Pueblo Esperanza. The new space will house 3 new attractions. One will be an Encanto ride through the Casita, there will be a carousel, and Dinosaur is going to be rethemed to an Indiana Jones attraction, not unlike what's on the West Coast. The space is also going to have one of the largest quick service restaurants on property, as well as some merchandise locations. Dinoland will close in phases, and work is set to start in early 2025, and the new land is slated to open in 2027.
And then over at Hollywood Studios, we also learned that a new Monsters, Inc. land is coming to that park. This land will feature Disney's first suspended coaster attraction, and it's going to be a ride through the Monsters, Inc. Door Factory. What everybody always thought would be the perfect
Agreed.
ride watching that
Yep.
movie for the first time.
Agreed.
The concept art looks amazing, and this is exactly what Disney fans were hoping would be in a Monsters, Inc. attraction, like I said. The land will also have dining and merchandise locations. Initially, we didn't know where this was going to be inside the park, and then speculation was always running wild as to where they were going to put it. But Disney has confirmed that it will be replacing what is now Muppets Courtyard. So this means Pizza Rizzo, Mama Melrose, and Muppets Vision 3D will be closing permanently. Now, Disney did say that Muppets Vision 3D will be preserved, but we don't know what that means. But we can probably assume that we haven't seen the last of it, is from what they were saying.
Yeah, exactly.
Work is set to start in 2025 for this land as well. The news led to another surprising announcement made later, which is that the Muppets are moving into the Rockin' Roller Coaster. The coaster will be rethemed to the Muppets, who will be teaming up with some of Rock's biggest stars for the reimagined attraction. We're waiting for news on when work is set to start, but Disney did say there is still time to enjoy the attraction in its current state of Aerosmith.
Yep.
We also learned that Grogu and the Mandalorian will be incorporated into Millennium Falcon's Smuggler's Run attraction in the future, and we should see those changes take effect in 2026.
Yep. And back at Magic Kingdom, the flagship park is getting 2 new lands, right? So this was the big news coming out of D23, right? So the first being a Cars area that will take over the Rivers of America and Tom Sawyer Island area of the park. This news was exciting, but controversial at the same time, right? A lot of Disney fans were upset that the water was being reclaimed. But the new area is exciting nonetheless, and it will be getting 2 new attractions, an e-ticket ride as well as a kid-friendly attraction. And the area beyond Big Thunder, which has been teased for years now, is confirmed to be a Villains Land, which will expand the park beyond Big Thunder Mountain Railroad.
So exciting.
The new land will have 2 new attractions, shopping, dining, and overall a darker vibe by Disney standards.
I'm excited
right?
to walk through that.
Agreed.
When it's open, just to feel
100%.
like the different vibe. It's going to be crazy.
It's going to be amazing. This is a dream come true for a lot of Disney fans, right? And something that fans have been asking for a really, really long time. Yep. Is it in response to Dark Universe over at Epic Universe?
Probably.
Maybe yes, maybe not, right? But either way, competition is good and it only makes both parks better. And we all benefit, as park guests, right? We all benefit from that.
We have a love for all Universal and Disney.
Exactly. And on that note, Big Thunder Mountain Railroad is closing for a really, really long refurbishment. And that starts soon on January 6th. Disney hasn't said, but they did say we'll reopen in 2026 with a little bit of new magic. But what I mean when I say they haven't said what the purpose is specifically.
Yeah,
we can't say for certain that this is something to do with Villains Land, but the timing is certainly curious, right? So we're going to keep our ear to the ground for news on the reopening of the attraction and of any news coming out of Villains Land to see if that's kind of correlated. Out of all these expansions and new lands coming, Villains Land was the only one without a timeline. So they said
Monsters
Pueblo,
Inc.
Yeah, Pueblo Esperanza is opening in 2027 and Monsters Inc. Work is starting in 2025. Yeah. There was nothing like that for Villains Land. So I'm thinking that this is going to have work start the latest and consequently it's going to be completed last.
Yes, I would agree.
Another thing that was recently announced was Disney's Lakeshore Lodge, which replaced the concept for Reflections, a Disney Lakeside Lodge, right, which had been previously announced in 2019. This is going to be built on Bay Lake near Fort Wilderness. This will be a DVC resort, but of course, like all DVC properties, regular guests will be able to book here as well. Disney said the new resort will, quote, be inspired by the majesty of nature and its enduring influence on Disney artists. The resort is set to be open in 2027, and little else has been shared as of right now, but it's exciting to see that a version of this project is finally going ahead.
Absolutely. So fun. So much news. I love it.
Yeah, 100%.
Over on the West Coast, Disney's California Adventure has had a lot to look forward to in the next few years. A new Avatar experience is coming to the park. It'll be different from the world of Avatar that currently lives in Animal Kingdom Park in Walt Disney World. This new space will take inspiration from recent and coming Avatar movies, so Avatar: The Way of Water and Avatar: Fire and Ash. It'll have an attraction which will feature boats in a much different attraction than Na'vi River Journey. The concept art for this looks great and we cannot wait to hear more. Avengers Campus is also getting some much needed TLC. It will get 2 new attractions. One will be named Avengers Infinity Defense, and the concept art for this looks really great as well. It also gets a new Iron Man / Stark Industries themed attraction. The concept art for this one shows mechanical arms similar to the Forbidden Journey attraction over at Universal Orlando, so we're actually really looking forward to that one as well because we love that ride. California Adventure is also getting the first Coco attraction in a Disney park, which will be a boat ride featuring the music and characters you know and love from the film. And then over in Disneyland Park, they are getting a Walt Disney animatronic, which will be featured in Walt Disney: A Magical Life. This is sure to be a tearjerker. I've always been impressed with the animatronics that Disney comes out with.
Mm-hmm.
Like even the Hall of Presidents, it looks like those
Yes, no,
men.
for sure. And like more recent ones too, like the newer ones are awesome. And what is it? The
Tiana in Tiana's Bayou Adventure.
Tiana, but in Navi River Journey, the shaman.
Yes.
Oh my God.
So
that one
I
is
can only
amazing.
imagine also the love and care that is going into building Walt. Like I can only imagine what this is going to look like. It's going to be absolutely amazing. So this is going to be housed in the Main Street Theater beginning on May 16th, 2025. And after that, it'll be on rotation with Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln. We also got some details on Disneyland's 70th anniversary celebration. There will be many, many offerings over the course of the year. Some of the things you are going to see return are the Paint the Night Parade, as well as the Wondrous Journeys Castle Show, among other entertainments, festivities, merchandises, and snacks. It won't be unlike Walt Disney World's 50th celebration in 2021, which lasted about 18 months, I think.
No, I'm sure it'll last a long time, and there's going to be a lot going on during that time.
Absolutely.
In DCL news, the Disney Treasure just had its first sailing over Christmas, like we've said many times. 2025 will also have the launch of the Disney Destiny, which will be the third of the Wish-class ships. This ship will have a first-of-its-kind heroes versus villains theme, which sounds pretty cool, and it's set to start sailing in November of 2025. The Disney Adventure, which will be a Disney Global-class ship, and it's actually a ship that was acquired by Disney and repurposed. It wasn't built by Disney initially, or like intended to be a Disney ship initially, rather. It'll sail out of Singapore, and it's set to start sailing in December of 2025. Those will be ships 7 and 8 out of Disney's fleet, and then Disney will launch another 5 ships, bringing the total to 13 in the coming years, including a ship that will sail out of Japan. So everything is coming up cruise line, right? It's a huge moneymaker for Disney, and they're leaning into it like hard.
They're rolling with it. Like it's... And I don't blame them.
Yeah, 100%.
What a great moneymaker for them.
Exactly. If it's working, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Absolutely.
For the international parks, Disneyland Paris will have the Walt Disney Studios renamed to Disney Adventure World. The change will happen in 2026 and include the opening of a Lion King and Frozen themed lands. And Shanghai and Hong Kong Disney are getting some Marvel representation as well. So Shanghai Disneyland is getting a Spider-Man themed roller coaster, and Hong Kong Disneyland is getting a Stark Industries attraction as well. And of course, the worst kept news, because I guess they're not trying to hide it right now.
No.
But Universal is going to have a huge year in 2025, right? On May 22nd, Epic Universe will open its doors to the public. This is a massive new park, and it's going to feature 5 new lands: Celestial Park, Dark Universe, the Wizarding World of Harry Potter Ministry of Magic, Super Nintendo World, How to Train Your Dragon, Isle of Berk. The lands will have attractions, shows, entertainment, dining, and merchandise locations. Throughout the year, Universal has been dropping like little reels and like YouTube videos giving each like details on each land, right? It was actually a really original way to like announce the stuff.
Absolutely.
And
I thought they were so genius with that.
Yeah, it really helped to build the anticipation, and we were eating it up. Like they worked on us, right?
Yeah.
So we are so excited for the opening of this park. Like we literally can't wait to experience it in person.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing.
Seeing the what do you call it? Like the scale version. You know what I'm talking
when we
about?
were there
The
in
preview
September.
center.
Yep.
Yeah. So the preview center has like a tiny scale of what it's going to look like. And it was just seeing that was awesome. So I can't wait to like walk through the doors.
It's going to be insane. So 2024 was a good year for Disney, and we saw a lot of changes, especially to the whole Lightning Lane system. Walcott finally ended, Tiana's Bayou Adventure finally opened, restaurants opened, rides closed. It was a busy year news-wise. And there's so much to look forward to this next year, like the lounges at Magic Kingdom and Epcot, the Little Mermaid and Villain shows over at Hollywood Studios, the Starlight Nighttime Parade at Magic Kingdom, and the 70th celebration at Disneyland. 2025 is shaping up to be a great year for the parks. On top of that, D23 gave us some major announcements that were all great for the future of the parks and the Disney Cruise Line as we look ahead to 2025 and beyond.
Yeah, 100%. And for us in 2025, I'm going to Disney World solo next month, right? So we've said that before. That'll be a first for me, and I'm excited for that. I'll be doing Behind the Seeds tour at Epcot and the Wild Africa Trek at Animal Kingdom, and trying out Wailulu Bar and Grill at the new Island Tower and the Cake Bake Shop at the Boardwalk, which again, all new for me. We're going again, all 4 of us in May. We'll be staying at the Caribbean Beach Resort and hitting the 4 parks. And just recently, we booked a cruise. We'll be sailing on the Wish in November for a 4-night Very Maritime cruise. And we're going to be doing Universal Epic Universe in the days leading up to that with the kids as well. So we have a lot to look forward to for Disney travel this next year as well. what's the thing you're most looking forward to for next year?
Honestly, all the new.
Yeah.
I'm so pumped for my kids to get to ride Tiana's Bayou Adventure.
Yeah.
Finally.
Agreed. That's going to be
I'm
great.
sad that they won't get to do Big Thunder Mountain because that's one of their favorites, but that's okay. It'll come back. But they get to ride Tiana's Bayou Adventure. I am super pumped for Epic Universe because that's all new.
So good.
Our kids have never been to Universal, so that's just all new for them too. I live for my kids, so for me to get to see them do all these new things now is very exciting. And then the cruise is new for all four of us.
Yeah.
So like I am super, super pumped for everything new this year.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. Oh God. I mean, you said it best, but I think the thing that I'm most looking forward to is 100% is Epic Universe. Because it feels like it's been a long time since we've had something like really new at Universal. And this is like next level.
This is it.
Right. And I loved walking through Hogsmeade the first time we went. I absolutely loved going to Diagon Alley, seeing the dragon, eating ice cream at Florian Fortescue's, like the whole vibe. And now that we have like a third,
the Ministry, I've been waiting for the Ministry forever.
100%. Yeah. And like, I was wanting, hoping with every fiber of my being that it would be an attraction in the British Ministry, like going into the depths of the 100%. Yeah. And that's what they did. And I'm like, yes.
I can't imagine what else they would have done. And then our son is a huge Mario fan. Like when I tell you his bedspread is Mario, he's got everything is Mario for him. To get to see him go through Mario Land is going to be insane.
He's going to absolutely love it. Yeah,
we got so much new coming up this year. It's not just our usual. It's almost all new.
Yeah, there's new stuff coming up, which is great. Awesome. And of course, we're going to continue to bring you with us on our trips, right? We'll do our trip recaps after each trip like we've been doing. Even though we go pretty regularly, right? We inevitably learn something new every time. And we'd like to share that with you guys so you can take advantage of our experiences, right? Replicate what you like, tweak it to make it make sense for you, right? And learn from our mistakes so you don't make the same ones.
Absolutely. So with that said, again, thank you so much for following along with us this year. We thank you guys so much, and we could not do this without you. We'll continue to bring you Disney news and helpful and actionable Disney advice in 2025.
Absolutely. That's why we do it, right? To give you guys as much information as you need to plan great Disney vacations. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss any future episodes. And as always, if you could leave us a rating and review, it would be greatly appreciated. If you choose to do so, you can leave it right on Apple Podcasts. And for Spotify, you can leave a rating.
You can also find us on Instagram and TikTok at Let's Go.to-Disney, as well as on our Facebook page, Let's Go to Disney. We share some helpful reels here as well as some fun ones. The link tree in the show notes will take you to all of our socials.
Have a great day and a happy new year, and we'll see you real soon.